Ilara was not born to be a slave. She was a scientist. A dreamer. A girl who once looked at the stars and imagined peace, freedom, and love. But all of that was gone now. Now, she was nothing more than a number. A product. She sat in a dark metal cage, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her lips were dry. Her body hurt. The cold steel floor gave her no rest. The air smelled like oil and fear. She wasn't alone. There were others whispering, crying, begging, all prisoners. All human. The ship she was on was flying through space. Destination, unknown. But Ilara knew where she was going. She was being sold. Sold by someone she once trusted. Someone she once loved. His name was Darren. He had been charming once. Sweet. He had promised her everything. "We'll build a life together," he had said. "We'll go to the stars." He just didn't tell her that she would be the one in. Chains. Darren worked with alien traders, black market traffickers who bought and sold humans like pets or machines. They paid him in credits, weapons, and power. He had sold 5 women before her. Ilara was number 6, but Ilara was different. She was smarter than the others, stronger. That's why she hurt the most. Suddenly, the cage door opened with a loud hiss. Blinding light poured in. Ilara covered her eyes. "Get up," said a cold alien voice. Metal hands grabbed her arms and pulled her out. She didn't fight. Fighting meant pain. She had learned that the hard way. They took her to a large auction room. The walls glowed red. The crowd was loud. Aliens of all kinds sat on seats above the round platform. Some with tentacles. Some with eyes like fire. Some wore gold armor. Some looked like monsters. Ilara stood in the middle of the circle. A red light scanned her body from head to toe. A robotic voice began to speak. Item 47. Female. Human. 25 years. Scientist. Average health. Mild injuries. No known powers. Trained in basic communication and tech skills. Starting. Price. 5,000 credits. The bidding started. 5,000, said one voice. 6,000, said another. 7. Ilara's heart sank. She tried not to cry. She told herself, "You've already died once. This is just a bad dream." And then silence. The bid stopped. A hooded figure stepped forward from the shadows. "I'll take her," he said in a calm human voice. The crowd murmured. It was rare for a human to bid. "No questions asked," he added. The auctioneer paused. "Accepted. Payment received." Item 47 transferred to buyer hashtag. A 9-13. Double quotes before Ilara could even look at him. A small injection was pushed into her neck. Her world went black. She woke up on a soft bed, real sheets. Warm air, no chains. Her head ached, but her body wasn't. In pain, the room was small but clean. A table. A lamp. A door made of old steel. No guards. No weapons. She sat up confused, scared. Then the door opened. The man entered. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and human. His face was serious, but not cruel. He wore a simple jacket, no armor. No weapons in sight. "My name is Kale," he said. Ilara didn't reply. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said, sitting at the table. "You're free now, at least. As free as you can be out here." She laughed, bitter, broken. "Free?" she whispered. "Is that what this is?" Kale looked at her with soft eyes. "I know what Darren did to you. I've been tracking him for years. You're not the first." "Why?" she asked. "Why save me?" "Because no one else will," Kale said. "And because someone should." Ilara looked away. She didn't know if she could trust him. She had trusted before. "Look where it got her." Kale stood up. "You can stay here as long as you want," he said. "The door stays unlocked. Food's in the drawer. If you want to leave, I won't stop you." He walked out and closed the door softly behind him. Ilara sat there, staring at the wall. Who was this man? Why her? And most important of all, what would come next? She didn't know it yet, but her story was just beginning. Darkness.el. Ara stood in the middle of a burning lab. Flames climbed the walls. Glass cracked under her feet. Sirens screamed. The smell of smoke and blood filled the air. She ran behind her. Darren's voice echoed, "You're mine, Alara, you always were." She turned to scream, but no sound came out. Suddenly, someone grabbed her wrist. She gasped, but it wasn't Darren. It was a man she didn't know, tall, steady, calm eyes. His voice was soft. "You're safe now." Alara woke up with a sharp breath. Sweat on her forehead. Her hands shook. Another nightmare. She looked around. The same small room. Same quiet light. Same old bed. But something was different. She wasn't chained. She wasn't being watched. She was alone. And alive. Still. Her heart didn't believe it yet. She walked to the door. Slowly. Careful. Her fingers touched the handle. She pulled. It opened. No guards. No electric shocks. Just silence. She stepped outside. A narrow hallway. Metal walls. A table with warm food. A folded shirt. A note. It said, "Eat if you're hungry. The tea helps with sleep." Kale. Alara stared at the note. Why? Was he being kind? She didn't trust kindness anymore. Not after Darren. Not after being sold like cargo. Kale sat outside, fixing the small engine on the side of the ship. His hands were rough but calm. His movements were patient. He looked up when she stepped into the doorway. "You slept for almost a day," he said. "Thought you needed it." Alara didn't answer. He didn't push. Instead, he nodded toward the bench beside him. "You can sit. Or not, your choice." That word again, choice. She walked over slowly and sat. Not close, just near enough to hear him. For a while, neither of them said anything. The only sound was the soft humming of stars in the distance. Finally, Alara spoke. "You bought me." Kale looked at her. "Yes." "Why?" "To stop others from buying you." She frowned. "You paid ... just to save me?" "Yes." "That's stupid," she said. "No one does that." "I do," he replied. Silence again. Handed her a small tool. "You ever fix anything before?" he asked. She looked at the tool, then at him. "I was a lab engineer, on Earth, before it all went to hell." She nodded. Kale gave a small smile. "Then you'll probably fix this faster than I can." Alara slowly took the tool. Her hands were steady now. Her brain remembered things her heart had forgotten. How to work, how to build, how to be more than a prisoner. She fixed the loose wire in 2 minutes. Kale whistled. Double quotes. "See? Not broken. Just ... buried." Those words hit something deep inside her. That night, she stood by the window of the ship, looking out at the stars. Kale stood nearby, not close, but always within reach. "I was going to be married," she said. Softly. "To Darren?" She nodded. "I thought he loved me." "I was wrong." Kale didn't speak. He let her talk. He said we'd go to space together. Build a future. Then he drugged me, sold me. She touched her neck where the tracker implant was still buried under her skin. He said humans are cheap now, easy profit. And I was just one more. Kale finally spoke. "You're not cheap. And you're not for sale." The next morning, Alara woke up to the sound of Kale arguing with someone through the ship's comms. "No, she's under my protection now. Back off." A robotic voice replied. "Her owner is still registered. That means she's illegal. We'll come for her." Kale cut the call and turned only to find Alara already standing behind him. "They're coming for me, aren't they?" "Yes, then let me fight." He looked surprised. "I'm tired of running," she said. "Let me stand. I'm not weak anymore." Kale looked at her for a long moment. Then he handed her a small blaster. "You'll need to learn fast." She nodded. "I will." For the first time in weeks, Alara didn't feel like a victim. She felt human. The lights were off. Not by accident. Ilara had turned them off herself. She stood in front of the mirror in Kale's ship. Just her, the shadows and silence. Her shirt lay folded on the table. Her back was bare. Her breath was steady, but her hands were not. She touched the back of her neck, then her shoulder blade, then lower. And there it was. A faint blue glow. Not a tattoo, not a scar. Something beneath the skin. It pulsed. Slow, steady. Like a heartbeat, like a warning. Kale knocked softly at the door. Ilara, you okay? She didn't answer right away. Then finally she said, come in. But keep the lights off. He entered. In the soft darkness, he could only see the outline of her form. What's going on? He asked gently. Look, she said. She turned her back toward him and stepped closer. At first, Kale didn't understand what he was seeing. Then his eyes adjusted. A long curved scar ran from the back of her neck down to her spine. Inside the scar, a small glowing chip embedded deep under her skin. Kale stepped forward slowly. That's not just a tracker, he said. That's military tech. Ilara nodded. I know. Darren had connections. He told me it would keep me safe in case I got lost. But it wasn't for safety. It was for control. Kale's voice was tight. Did it hurt? She laughed bitterly. Only all the time. Kale carefully reached out, his fingers inches from her back. May I? He asked. She nodded. His fingers brushed the edge of the glowing scar. It felt warm, too warm for something inside a human body. This isn't just tracking you, he said. It's listening, watching, sending signals. She tensed. So they know where I am? Kale stood back. Yes, and they probably know who you're with now. Ilara turned to face him. Then I'm putting you in danger. I already chose danger the day I chose you, he said. She stared at him. Not with fear this time, with something else. Something softer. Later that night, Kale opened a metal case hidden in the ship's floor. Inside were old tools, cutters, scanners, surgical gloves. You're going to try to remove it? She asked. I have to, Kale said. This tech. It's not just painful. If they flip the signal, it could kill you. Ilara sat down. Her voice was steady. Do it. Kale took a deep breath. Are you sure? It'll hurt. She met his eyes. I've already lived through worse. The room was quiet, except for the hum of the scanner and the soft sound of Kale's breathing. He worked carefully, his hands sure but gentle. When he finally reached the chip, Ilara cried out. Kale froze. I can stop, he said. No, she gasped. Finish it. A few seconds later, it was done. He held the small glowing chip in his hand. It blinked once. Then died. You're free now, he whispered. For a long time, Ilara didn't speak. She just lay there, breathing hard, sweat on her skin. But tears in her eyes. Thank you, she said at last. Kale cleaned the wound and wrapped it carefully. You should rest, he said, but Ilara grabbed his hand. You said you've been tracking Darren, she whispered. He nodded. Then help me find him. Kale looked at her. And in that moment, he saw someone new, not just a broken woman, not just a victim, but a fighter. The next morning, Ilara stood at the ship's window again. But this time, she wasn't hiding. The scar was still there, but the chip was gone. A message played quietly on the ship's old radio. Bounty alert, human female. Escaped property, dangerous, reward, 50,000 credits. Ilara listened. She didn't flinch. Let them come, she said. The market smelled like oil, metal, and lies. Ilara walked beside Kale through the narrow spaceport alley. Her hood was low, her steps careful. Around her, aliens bartered, shouted, and flashed weapons like jewelry. She had a blaster hidden under her coat. She had never used one before. Her hands shook. Just a little. Kale leaned close and spoke quietly. Keep walking. Don't look anyone in the eye. We're just another poor couple trying to catch a shuttle. Alara nodded. Inside, she wasn't afraid. She was ready. They reached the docking terminal. A rusty transport ship waited in Bay 9. Kale stepped forward to pay the pilot. Alara stayed back, watching the crowd. That's when she saw him, a short alien with green skin and sharp black eyes. He smiled too much. But it wasn't a nice smile. He held a small device in his hand. A scanner. He turned it toward her. Beep. Just once. But loud enough. He looked at her, grinned, and started to speak into a comms unit. Alara didn't wait. She ran. Kale turned just in time to see her sprint past him. Then he heard the shout. Bounty. Human female. Stop her. The entire market turned. Blasters came out. Screams started. Kale drew his weapon and ran after her. Alara! She didn't stop. Her breath burned. Her legs felt like fire. But she kept running, down a side alley, through a broken gate, over trash bins and between old cargo containers. She heard footsteps behind her, then a voice in her ear. Kale's voice through the cum in her coat. Left at the big pipe, then climb, go, I'll cover you. She turned left. A huge metal pipe ran up the wall like a ladder. She climbed. Shots flew past her. One burned her shoulder. She screamed, but didn't fall. At the top, she reached the rooftop. And there, 3 bounty hunters were waiting. One tall, one with a metal jaw, one with no eyes, just sensors. The metal jaw one stepped forward. You're worth more dead than alive, sweetheart. Alara raised her blaster with both hands. Then come get me. They laughed. She fired first. Missed. But it startled them. Kale reached the roof a second later, landing hard behind her. He shot the one with sensors in the leg. Chaos. They ducked behind crates. Alara's heart pounded. She turned to Kale. I can't. Yes, you can, he said, loading another shot. Don't shoot like a victim. Shoot like someone who wants to live. She breathed. In. Out. Then she popped up. Fired once. Hit. Metal jaw in the shoulder. He screamed and dropped his gun. Kale took the second. One down. Only the tall one was left. He ran. Alara didn't follow. She dropped her blaster. Her hands shook again. Kale caught her before she fell. You did good, he said. I missed. You made them run. They didn't take the shuttle. Too risky now. They stole a small cargo ship instead. As Kale flew them into the stars. Alara sat beside him, still shaking. I've never killed anyone, she whispered. You still haven't, Kale said. You didn't fight to kill. You fought to live. That's the difference. She nodded. But inside, something had changed. She wasn't running anymore. She was fighting back. A message lit up on the ship's screen. New bounty update. Subject has escaped. Capture. Target is armed. Dangerous. Possible assistance from rogue human male. Do not approach without heavy support. Alara looked at it and smiled, just a little. They're afraid now. Kale grinned. Good, let them be. In a quiet moment, while Kale fixed the flight controls, Alara opened a small notebook she found in the ship's drawer. She wrote something down. They tried to break me. But now, I'm learning to break them back. Darren stood on his ship, staring at the stars. They didn't shine like they used to. Not since Alara escaped. He wasn't angry, not really. He was insulted that no one ran from him. Not for long. He took a slow sip of dark wine, watching the blinking red dots on his tracker screen. Every dot was a person he had sold. Every dot was a price tag, and one dot, once gone dim, was glowing again. She was alive. Darren smiled. Good, he whispered. It'll be fun to break her twice. But Alara was not the same woman anymore. She stood in the shadows of a gas station, orbiting an abandoned moon. Kale waited inside, pretending to refuel the ship. The trap was already set. This is where he sold the others, she said quietly. I found the files. He used this station as his transfer point. Kale looked at her. Are you sure you want to do this? No, she replied. But I'm going to. She wasn't shaking anymore. Her voice was sharp, calm, like steel pulled from fire. Inside the station, lights flickered. Old tech buzzed. The air smelled of rust and secrets. Ilara walked down a hallway lined with holding rooms, empty now. But once, they held girls like her. She reached a locked door and placed her hand on the panel. The system blinked. Voice ID. Match. Access granted. The room opened. Inside. A dusty console sat untouched for years. Ilara pulled a cable from her coat and plugged it in. Kale's voice buzzed through her earpiece. We've got 15 minutes before his ship picks up the beacon. Then we need only 10, she said. Her fingers flew across the keys. She sent a message. But not just to Darren. She sent it to the black market channels, the bounty networks, the smugglers, the mercenaries. A file. A truth. A name. This is Darren Core, trafficker of over 67 humans, including children. Selling through alliance routes. Here is proof. Attached were video clips, voice logs, sale records. And the list of buyers, names even criminals feared. Elara hit send. On Darren's ship, alarm screamed. Incoming data breach. Security compromised. Public leak active. He slammed his drink down. Who? The screen showed her face. Not a broken girl. Not a prisoner. A woman with fury in her eyes. You want to hunt me? Her voice said through the speakers. Then. Come, I'll be waiting. Darren's ship jumped to the station orbit. He didn't bring backup. He brought rage. But Ilara and Kale were gone. Only one message blinked on a screen near the docking door. Sometimes prey becomes the hunter. See you soon. Back on Kale's stolen ship, Ilara watched the bounty system change. New alerts appeared. Darren's face. Wanted. Dead or alive. 200. 0 credits. She turned to Kale. We made him the hunted, Kale smiled. And the galaxy knows his name now. She leaned back, but her eyes didn't close. She wasn't finished yet. Not until Darren was. Later that night, Kale bandaged a fresh cut on her arm. You okay? She didn't answer right away. Then, I don't know who I'm becoming. He looked at her carefully. You're becoming free. She nodded. But inside, she wondered, when you fight monsters, how much of the monster do you take with you? The cell was small, cold, familiar. But this time, Ilara didn't tremble. She sat still, straight, waiting. The chains around her wrists were heavy, but they didn't scare her. They were old ghosts now, and ghosts no longer ruled her. She had walked into this cell on her own. The door opened. Darren stepped inside. He looked exactly the same. Same perfect hair. Same calm, proud smile, only this time it didn't work. You came back, he said. You left the door open, she replied. He laughed, walking slowly around her like a wolf circling its prey. You always were dramatic. What's your plan? Talk me to death? No, Ilara said. Let you talk yourself to death. Darren sat across from her. Do you remember what I told you before I sold you? He asked. She didn't answer. He continued anyway. I said, you're not special. You're just first. And I was right. After you, I sold 12 more. Some begged. Some screamed. None lasted long. He leaned forward, smiling cruelly. But you're still breathing. Why? Ilara met his eyes. Because monsters like you always forget one thing. Oh? And what's that? That humans break. But they also rebuild. Darren's smile faded. You leaked my records, he said. You think you've hurt me? I didn't hurt you, Ilara said. I exposed you. Darren stood now, pacing, angry. Do you know how much I paid to erase that? To shut it down? It doesn't matter. Credits always speak louder than truth. She let him rant. Let him unravel, because she had. Already won. He walked close and grabbed her chin roughly. You came here thinking you're powerful, but you're still mine. You were always mine, Elara smiled. Not afraid, just tired. No, Darren, I was yours. Once, but now? She leaned closer, whispering, now I'm the one you should fear. The alarms went off. Outside the cell, explosions rocked a base. Darren turned, confused, furious. What is this? Elara shrugged. Just a rescue, or maybe a rebellion. The lights turned red. Sirens blared. A voice echoed over the speakers. To all captives, your prison is broken. You are no longer property. Escape routes are open. Find the light. Kale's voice. She knew he'd come, but not alone. She had shared the files, not just about Darren, but about the entire trafficking network. Survivors had come together. Smugglers, outlaws, even bounty hunters who'd once hunted her. Now, hunting him. Darren turned back to her, panic in his eyes for the first time. You planned this? I became this, Elara said. She stood now, chains still on, but standing taller than him. You can run, Darren, but you'll never be invisible again. He drew a knife. She didn't flinch, but before he could strike, Kale appeared at the cell door. Bam! The blast tore it open. He stepped in, gun raised. Let her go, Kale growled. Darren turned, shaking now. He looked between the two of them. You're both dead, he spat. You think they'll protect you out there? Elara walked past him, slowly. No, she said. We'll protect each other. As they ran down the burning hallway, Kale shot open the outer hatch. The stolen rebel ship hovered outside. Behind them, Darren screamed as the building collapsed around him, alone, hunted, exposed. Justice didn't always wear a uniform. Sometimes it wore scars. Back on the ship, Elara sat beside Kale, blood on her clothes, but peace in her breath. Kale looked at her. You okay? She nodded. Then paused. Quotes, no, but I will be.